All right, well, whoever rolls in, we'll play a little catch up if we need to, but I'm glad who's here. Welcome. Nice to see everybody. It was a rainy morning and we haven't officially met yet. I'm Jay Jennings. I'm your MLS support guy for the Association of Realtors. So I'm also your compliance guy. So it's one of those dual swords, you know, you get an email from me, you're like, oh, great, I get some answers, or dang it, I'm probably going to get a fine, right? So hopefully after one of these classes today and some of the other training things we do, we'll try and help you guys avoid some of the pitfalls we have with our rules and regs, how to work through the MLS system and find some efficiencies, find some tools that you can help your buyers and sellers, and get some good data flowing back and forth. So sounds like everybody's fairly new, so we're going to kind of start things off fairly light, and we can do a deeper dive afterwards. If I need to, I can stick around and we can go as far as we need to. We can touch on a few of the different products. Or else if you ever needed to call me, and we can do some one-on-one training too, like on Fridays are really good. So if you guys can get a few of you together and you want to do a Zoom call, we can certainly focus on another course down the road. So we can help with that. But today we're going to cover CMAs, but just out of curiosity, I want to see how many people when they're logging in, there we go, to Paragon are still seeing this page. Okay, homework right out of the chute. All right, this is a great thing to just hit start and just upload, just double click and just go through the first couple pages. Actually, you can upload your photo, your office logo. You can upload it right from your computer if you have the artwork or photos in there. That's just going to help you brand everything. We work really hard to cultivate those buyers and sellers. So if you're sending them emails or CMAs or whatever kind of reports you put together, by doing all those preferences up front, everything will be branded to you, your photos, your contact information. So just take a few minutes to do that, and you don't have to keep doing it every single time you're sending out emails out to clients. So, but hopefully, it sounds like most everybody has access to the MLS. We just haven't had a deep dive into most of the features. So, if let's cover CMAs today, but I think another good follow-up class is so we can make that happen is searches and save searches. And a product they have is called the Colab Center. So this is a Colab Center is a neat little tool. And basically, once you get that client, you figure out a buyer who says, you know, hey, here's what I'm looking for. They give you all the details. Here's my price range. Here's the features that I'm looking for. You can create a save search for that client, and you go into settings. You just, if a property hits the market based on this criteria, they'll get an automatic email. You'll get an email, or you'd say send it to them every month or whatever. If it's a snowbird, it's gone back home, and just to keep them in the loop and keep your name fresh in their mind about you being the realtor that they want to work with. But so that's a good class. I think we could probably follow up on that, and it's a good little product, I think, again, just to keep buyers fresh in your mind and hopefully get a side of a transaction out of it. But let's go ahead and take a look at CMA. And I'm just going to click on that. There's our drop down. So on the left hand side, you can see the very first option is going to be create presentation. The second one down is save presentations. And so if you ever needed to work on a CMA that you've already created and you update some things, you can do that. CMA preferences wizard, it's kind of like that first preferences wizard we saw. So if you ever want to go through that, kind of set up a few things, you can, it'll save some time where you're not being repetitive about some of the basic details of you're going to be sending out to clients. And on the right hand side, add subject property. So if you ever wanted to start ahead of time working on a CMA, you can pick what class that property is going to be in. I think 95% of you are going to be using residential single family, and the other one's going to be lots and land. As you probably know, we don't do a whole lot of commercial, and that's a whole different monster.
I have a question about that real quick.
Yeah.
How do I add commercial properties to search for on this? Because I know that I want to say there's a little thing I can click where it said I can put commercial on here, or is there a certain thing I've got to do to?
Yeah, well, we don't put commercially zoned properties in our MLS.
Okay.
Yep. So what you can do,
That's why I haven't seen it.
That's it, yeah. But there is a resource for you available to get commercial properties in. It's hosted over on Pensacola's site. All right. Let's go ahead and just start a CMA here. So again, just I clicked on CMA and we're going to get on create presentation. All right. So a couple things to point out if you're new to this. As you keep entering in data on this main page, you'll see that when you finish, you have the ability to click next. Every time you click next, you're going to be moving down the ladder on the left-hand side. Okay, so the reason why I point this out is once we get down to step 5, let me just click on that real quick. It won't let me get that far quick. It wants me to start off by naming it first. But page 5 or section 5 of the CMA is the guts of your CMA. I mean, there's dozens of things you could put in there. The reason why I point that out, if you ever want to go back and change something on you've done in the CMA, you don't have to hit the back button 50 times. You can go to the ladder here on the left-hand side and go back to wherever you need to make any updates as you want. But let's go ahead and let's just create our CMA. CMA KW test. How about that? All right, we can either hit continue or next in the left-hand corner. And it's just going to guide you down. So every time I click next or continue, you see it's just going to keep dropping me down on the left-hand side. So we want to create our subject property. All right, we know we're going to meet with some sellers and we want to enter that property into the system. So you have a few options. We can create a new one. This is typically what you're going to do. You can load a subject search if you've done this ahead of time, or use an existing MLS listing. That's typically what you're not going to do because it's already listed. They probably have no interest in sitting down. So, right. So let's go ahead and create a new subject property with the green plus button. All right. So again, that's just going to keep prompting you. All right. What class of property are we going to create that subject property? And again, 90% plus are going to be residential single family.
That's a clapping. There's puddles outside.
That's right. I need to get that ringtone. That's a good one.
That was different.
Yeah. So, okay. So when I created the create subject property, this is what our tax autofill tool looks like. So again, this is a nice time saver where you can get some basic information about the property, enter it in, and it's going to fill in details, address, square footage, year built, things of that nature. So one thing I always pay attention to, when you see the red R's, those are required fields. So let's go ahead and I can start typing in Baldwin, okay? Or I can always go to the eyeglass over here and go from the selected ranges. So if I can just click on that, highlight it, hit save, there's Baldwin. I am going to, let's do this. Instead of, you don't have to put in the street number, the street name, the buyer's name, the city. Just basically put in some qualifying features of the property, and you're going to find it pretty quick. For instance, let's use 808 is the address. This is for the street number. And if I hit enter a tab, okay, so they know that there's 30 different addresses, at least with 808 as street number. I can put more in there, but if I hit search right now, I'm looking for 808 Fairhope Avenue. Okay, so if I look in here, let's see, do we see anything in there? There's 808 Fairhope Avenue. There's me. Okay. So once you find the property, your subject property, go ahead and check that box. It'll be highlighted in green. Then we're going to go up to the toolbar up here and autofill. All right. So let's make sure we highlight the subject property. Once it's highlighted, we're going to hit autofill. You can see all the autofill data is going to pop up. You can scroll down. If there's things you don't want, you can check or uncheck them, but most everything in there is pretty relevant for what you're trying to do. So I'm just going to hit save.
If I'm doing this with you, it's not going to mess anything up, right?
No, you're good.
Okay.
Yeah. If I need to slow down, if you have any questions, that's good. I know we're all probably different comfort levels or whatever, so we'll see what happens on the screen. I'll show you something that happens here when I try and save my subject property. It's going to give me an error. there's one thing it wants you to do, all right, and it highlights property type. And I can hit the eyeglass here. And just some basic coverage here. Hopefully everybody knows, or let's just cover it. Residential attached versus detached, okay? A lot of our newer, I mean, it's confusing if you don't see it before, but attached, they're thinking, well, the garage is attached. So that's what I'm looking for, okay? But really what a home is, when you have a single family home, it's detached. That home is, there's nothing else connected to it. It's sitting on its own piece of land. Whereas if you had two residential units and they were connected, just two, all right, wall to wall, then it would be attached, and that would be like their duplex. 3 of them would be a triplex, a stack of them would be a condo. But in this case, this is going to be a standalone home, so let's just click detached and hit save. Okay, now I can save my subject property. If you want to see, you can scroll down, and it's under, you can see it's entered in property taxes, bedroom, baths, and you can keep adding more if you want to in here. So if you want to put in structure style and put in cottage, you know, you can certainly do that, or whatever it may be. Then when you're done putting all the features in, you can hit your subject property.
Question.
Yep.
Mine is also giving me an error, and it says, put in FH1, FH10, Fairhope 1, Fairhope 10, Fairhope 7.
Okay, so that's your area field. All right, so I can show you how to find the area real quick. Let's do that real quick. We'll take a little
I don't know.
another course here on CRS tax. So this is the easiest way to find what area a property is in, MLS area. So here's your tax icon. I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to go over here to CRS data tax search. Okay. And what I'm going to do, let's use that same property, that 808 Fairhope Avenue. So if I just start typing it in, there we go, popped up. And it's going to submit. Okay, so there's the house in the top right-hand corner. You see where the map is? The next thing you have to do in the bottom right-hand corner is click View Larger Map. Once you do that, will be a default overlay. It'll tell you which area that property is in. So if you can see, you can scroll in and out. I scroll in right there. There's the property. All right, and it's in FH6, Fairhope 6.
What does that mean?
Those are just areas that we've created in the MLS that kind of break different segments within the city or area of all the properties you can search in Baldwin County. So Fairhope has like 8 or 9 different areas. So like Fruit and Nut District would have like a certain FH3 or whatever area it may be. Gulf Shores has one above like Intracoastal Canal, one that's all coastal. For instance, Orange Beach has Orange Beach 1 and 2. OB2 is just Ono Island. Everything else is anything in Orange
CBC
Beach.
is the Central Baldwin County.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, question, do you need to understand that data, or can you type in Fruit and Nut?
No, you'd have to actually, if you don't know exactly what area it is in, it won't recognize Fruit or Nut, or
Okay.
you'd have to do a tax search on that to find it.
Okay.
All right.
Is it odd that mine pre-populated, or it didn't give me the error, but it gave her the error?
Yes, for some reason, the county tax data didn't pull in that area for that particular property. So it's an odd one, but in case, you know, we stumbled upon it. So this is how you would figure out what the area would be. All right. Okay. So if you wanted to, we're going back to the CMA Wizard. If you wanted to add a photo of the property, you could. You could double click it right up here on the left-hand side, and you could just upload by adding files if you had something saved to your computer. I don't know what's on this computer, so I don't want to dig in.
But you can't pull it from that tax suite we were just at, right?
Once you download that.
No, you'd have to save that photo.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So again, we're still working on getting our subject property in, so I'm just going to keep hitting next. Let's see. So now we're going to tie that subject property to the client. All right. So let's go ahead and now again, if you already had the client set up, you could click on this, and all of your clients would pop up. You could just click on them and hit OK. But this is going to be a new client.
Is there a way to upload like my contacts into, sorry,
If it's in an Excel spreadsheet, I think you can. I think you can. Give me a call how to do it. We can,
okay,
yeah, or Paragon Support can walk you through it. 877 MLS Help is
okay.
their number. And they can certainly give you directions on how to make that happen.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
So let's go ahead and, okay. Okay. So there's the two required fields. I'm going to put the contact information. Again, you can add more, as much information to the client as you want, but I'm just going to get the basic info in there. Let me hit next. Okay, so it just says, yep, all right, that's all the information I put in. Again, I don't want to keep adding a bunch of different fields. I want to kind of just show you how we get to the CMA itself, and we'll go from there. So here's where it gets kind of important, because now we're going to add our comps, all right, to that subject property. We want to make sure that we're going to find some pretty good recent sales. And so we're going to add the comp. We're still going to find our comps under residential single family. Okay, so a couple things to point out. Again, this could be our second class, but most of our properties in Baldwin County, you're going to have a pretty good selection of properties based on where that property is located, especially if it's in a subdivision. You got it made, because all you're typing in is, in this case, if this was a subdivision, I would just go down to subdivision here. And so if that was in, let's say, Timber Creek, I just type in Timber Creek, 4 bedrooms, whatever it may be, you're going to find a ton of comps, because in the subdivision is going to vary that much. But one thing I wanted to point out is you may come across a unique situation where you're doing something in the north part of the county, where you have like a home on 12 acres, okay, and a lot of land and timber maybe. So this mapping tool may be an option for you, and that'll be a second if it gets a little bit bigger, but you can do some custom shapes and areas to pull that in. And you have to do a little bit more homework, obviously. Then you're going to have to type in what is the property type, what is the size, year built, and features. So if it had something like a pond in there or a fenced-in yard, you may be using that features field. Features, when you're searching or entering a listing, that's where you're really going to put in the details of the property you're looking for. But I know in my case, I'm in Fairhope. Actually, it was on Fairhope. Let's just do this.
Jay, let me ask you a question. When you put features in though, is it including those, or does it have to have those?
Yeah, it does include them. You can see it where it says must have or must not have.
Okay.
Okay.
And then there's more than, okay.
Must have
For
one or
instance,
more.
If I put fence and I was looking for something that may or may not have a fence, it would go on the far right
It would. Must have one or more. Yeah,
or far left.
exactly. Okay, so I'm going to go, let's go here. What I'm going to do in this case, right now the property status is all active, so I'm not going to get any comps, right, because they're active. I'm going to see some closed listings. So I'm going to get rid of all active. I'm going to go to closed first. Okay, now look at this number here first, because why it's important. I mean, there's the 72,000 closed listings. That's the only thing I've put in here. But once I start putting in more features and details of the comp I'm looking for, just be careful, because at some point you're going to put too much in there and that number is going to get to 0, right? So you kind of look and say, I need to back up. Maybe too much is not a good thing. But look, I'm going to go into the closed date range. I can type in that range of when properties close from beginning to end, or simply I can go to a date range and go 90 days back. I'm going to look. Now you can see that number dropped quite a bit. All right. All right. I'm going to go. Let me go into Fairhope. Okay.
Can you add multiple cities?
You can. You certainly can. Yep. Now I'm down to 319. I'm going to put approximate square footage. Let's go 900 to 1200. So I got 13. So now we're getting somewhere close. And let's just go to year built. Let's go 1975 to 1995. I got 5. That's a pretty good list, I think I'm gonna go with right there, right? So once I've got a fairly good number I wanna work with, I'm gonna go ahead and do a search.
So this all started based on the initial address that you had in the system?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And that's how you determine your square footage and your built.
That's what I use, yeah, so you gotta know your subject property's features. Yeah, yeah.
So if your subject property, I mean, it has an area, why do you need to put a city in? What is it, that's what I'm saying, is are the 5, if you didn't have Fairhope in there, would it be pulling from Daphne?
It'd be
and
pulling,
Spanish Fort?
it'd be pulling everything,
Everything.
because there's no definitive fee. It'd be pulling everything with these features in the MLS that closed.
Okay, so it's not necessarily pulling, it's pulling from the address, but not the.
Not the
Okay.
subject property address. No, I'm saying not the subject property address.
Okay.
This is gonna pull off whatever criteria you put in.
Okay,
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, all right.
yeah.
The subject property really has nothing to do with this. You're basically having to rebuild the subject property.
You're gonna have to build that
Got it.
comparable search based on the features of the subject property. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and hit search. And
So
so
the subject property has how many square foot?
in that one, and if you looked at text, that one was like 940.
Okay.
Mhm.
So we just want to stay within a couple hundred of that.
Yeah, you don't wanna get, you start pulling stuff at 6,000, obviously you're gonna get $1 million homes, right? Right, so you're wasting time and so you're, right,
Okay.
so there's your 5 that are closed, okay? So we can take a look at some features here, 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms, 2, 1. You can see there's some breakdowns that may be best to that subject property. There's some living area, right? There's some, you may want to throw out the top one or whatever, but you want to pick what you feel are going to be the best comps. I'm just going to pick 3. I'm going to take this one. I'm going to take the one. I'm going to go 1, 2, and 4 for whatever reason. I feel like those are going to be the closest comps that I want to use for my CMA. Okay, so once I pick my 3 comps or how many you want, you're not limited to them. You can hit add to CMA. And it's going to ask you, do you want the 3 selected, all 5 listings or the current listing? But I want the 3 that I selected. I'm going to hit, so now it's pulled in. All right, so I got my
Is
comps.
the current listing the subject property?
What's that?
Was the current listing the subject property?
This is the last one I clicked on.
Okay, that's what.
Mhm. Okay, so I'm gonna keep moving next. I like what I have. Okay. Okay, so now this is a new feature right here, this automatic CMA adjustment. Just until I get more information from Paragon, I want you guys to use the adjustments, not calculate adjustments. Let's just go to next and go to adjustments because there's a couple things I need to work out on that product right now. So when you go to adjustments, this is where we're going to add the different value ranges for our comps. And in the top right hand corner, you're going to see this is the first of 3 comps that we've added to the CMA. Right, so if there's anything that you want to add, you can see. Now these should be pretty close, but if for whatever reason, if there was something unique where you wanted to add, let's say this particular home had a little bit more acreage. Let's say that was 3/4 of an acre, where the other ones were just a quarter of an acre. So if you did approximate acreage, you said, I think it's worth a little bit more. Look at the bottom right-hand corner and adjusted price where it says 238,000. So because it's got a little bit more acreage, let's put in there 7,000. You feel it's worth for an extra half an acre. And I hit enter. All right, it's now got a 245. Okay, so for that particular property, that's going to make the adjustment. If there's something that you want specific that's not in here that you feel like it's important, you can actually go manual adjust. If you click on that, it opens up a new field at the bottom and say, let's say you had a, I don't know, how about this? She said should, okay? All right. So we can put that in there and say we think that is worth, that's worth another 5,000. All right, so we can add that in there. Let's do that. There.
You
Okay.
went to, Jay, sorry to interrupt, you went to closed properties, right?
Yes.
So these sold for, so why are we making an adjustment on a property that's actually sold?
Well, because if you needed to, if you didn't have good comps to choose from, or if you just needed to make tweaks up, like I said, a subdivision, you wouldn't need to. Because they're all pretty much going to be like the same builder and the same features, but this home may be a little bit different. Where, like I said, it has a she shed, but it does not in the MLS. You feel like
Yeah, but it's sold though. So,
it
right,
maybe it sold 6 months ago. The new owner put one in, or
Well,
whatever.
okay, but that's if you went back, right? But you did it in a short period of range,
Mhm.
right? You did 90 days.
Right.
So it closed, it sold for with all the stuff that you wanted. So why would you adjust the price if it's sold?
Because there may be features that you want to specifically show in there. It's like
Okay.
there's roof damage maybe or something that, or they put on a new roof that for whatever reason, there may be something that you want to point out.
All right.
Yeah. Okay.
I think I'm missing the point though, because to me, if it's sold with all those features in it.
Most likely. But if you ever need to tweak it out, this is what your adjustment field is for. You would do it for 1 through 2nd to 3 comps, same thing. If you need to make any adjustments, you could. Okay.
Where is that, where's the adjustment thing on there?
Number 3 on the
Yeah.
website.
So I see that over there.
And then go to
I'm on that.
adjustments. And then
Yeah.
manual adjust.
I'm there.
Top. Left.
Oh, thanks.
Good.
Yes, sir. I
Okay, good
apologize.
deal. Good deal. Okay. So whatever adjustments if you need to make, all right, this is where you do it. We'll just move on.
Price for it for $1 million.
Some of the stuff is now just personal preference, right? So if you want to, right, this is just a vivid. This is what your cover sheet would look like. If you want traditional, again, you can hit preview, and you can see what it would kind of look like. Again, I don't have a picture of the house. I never uploaded anything, but that's where that would be.
The subject of?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right.
So
So
you did
again,
that at the beginning?
yeah, I did at the beginning, but not my computer, so I wasn't
Yeah,
gonna get so let me hit next. All right, so here's again more preference stuff. This is all footer stuff you can put on the bottom of every page. Thank you for your opportunity to sell your home. You can put your website on there. You can put it in the bottom left, in the middle of the page, whatever you want to do. I like to add my logo and picture. Just another opportunity to brand yourself and keep it in front of them. All right. And then a disclaimer, just a little CYA on there. I have no idea why we have 2 sentences that are the exact same, but if you want to put that in there, that'll be something that'll be on each page of the CMA.
Just that one
You-
sentence or? is
Yeah,
there more
just the
than
one
that?
sentence.
Okay.
This information is deemed reliable but not guaranteed.
Okay.
So I keep hitting next, and I keep dropping down on the left-hand side. So we're moving along. This is my cover page. Now, once we're in step 5, this is what I say, this is the guts of your CMA. Once you get to step 5, you're going to have to click on whatever field that you see in there, you have to click on it to add it to the CMA at this point. All right, so this can get really big or it can be very basic at this point, but if you want the cover page, you can click on the cover page to add it on there. If you want to see what the cover page looks like, you can go preview page. All right, so it's, there's your contact information, and that would be the picture of the subject property, and then you'd have your client's name in here. Okay. All right. So let's keep hitting next. All right.
The
There's
client's name came from when we.
I entered it in
Is that when
when
we
I-
named it?
when we add contact,
That's what.
and I added myself as the contact. All right. So now we're going down to cover letter. Again, we can go through all of these and take a look, but if you want to take a look at them, hit page preview. And this is a good one, like where if you want your CMA preferences wizard, you can type this letter out already. So you don't have to keep typing it over. It's pretty much the same script you're going to say, but you do that in your CMA preferences.
Okay.
You could do your opening letter right out of the bat. Okay, but if you want that, just let's click it. You want that. Okay. Agent resume. Okay, so this is telling you a little bit about yourself, how great you are at what you do. CMA the preferences wizard, you can do multiple ones. So you can create different resumes for yourself if you wanted to, and how they look and feel. Company info, you can do that too. How, Keller Williams has been in the area for 50-some years, and over 7 billion in sale last week, whatever, a little puffy probably. All right, but now here's really comes down to getting the details of the CMA itself. I'm going to click subject property detail because we want to let the client know. So this is your well, again, no picture, but this would give them a little overview of the subject property that they're selling. Okay. Different ways to view it, just different layouts. You can hit preview page. It just looks and feels a little bit different. Okay. So it's just mostly preference. All right, but I want to keep that in there. I'm going to go next. Summary of adjustments. If you made them, this is where they would show up. If you don't want them to display, just don't click them. Okay. All right, I'm going to hit next. Comparable report. The next two are the same. They're just going to be either in columns, vertical or horizontal. So you're going to have, here's the horizontal, right? If you don't like that, we can take a look at, we can just click to this and go to, take a look at this one and see if you like the stacked version better. Right? Again, so this is, again, that's just preference. But I'm going to click it because I want the client to see what we're talking about. We'll go to next. CMA summary. This is a big one. All right, let's preview this page. So it's going to say, here's your range. Here's the 3 comps that I used. All right, here's the living area. Right, here's the days on average days on market. There's your list price, and then your list price per square foot, your sales price, and your sales price per square foot price. Right, so this is a big one right there. That 163.80, because based on their square footage, you're going to apply that to what you think a good price is. It's going to sell for. Maybe not list that, but what it's going to sell for. So let's put that on there. Again, we're just moving down. I wouldn't touch this one at all, guys. This is basically default settings from Paragon. So comparable property, you see all these x-axis, y-axis, that's already built in. You don't need to really worry about that. But if you want to look at it, I can see what it says. All right, so if you're dealing with an engineer, they love graphs and pie charts. All right, so just throw it in there, they'll be impressed.
Okay.
All right, let's go to the next one. I'm not going to click on that one, just to show you what it looks like. How many look at the okay. So if you want to add these on here, this is something new they just added. So Paragon will come up with an easy value. They'll come up with their own value of the price of the comps or the subject property, and then Zestimate, but that's RPR. If you want those in there, I don't necessarily like them because Zestimates, as we may or may not know, could be wildly off the mark, right? And I hate to have that conversation when I say, well, you think my house is worth 168, but Zillow says it's worth 272. And like, oh, that's a fun conversation.
Yeah, so that was the door opener for sale by owner, so that might actually.
But how I always handle that is what I used to do. I'm saying, well, that's not a problem because Zillow thinks your house is worth 62% of the market value. If you'd like to go with that, you'll have no problem doing a 32% commission. Like, no. 62 sounds crazy. Sounds good, but 32 sounds, well, now, come on now. Their tone changes real quick when we start talking commissions, right? So let's take a look at this page. All right, so again, there's your comparable price analysis. All right, pulled all together. Now this is the one I really like here in this property and CMA presentation, suggested list price. So you can use that based on everything that's been plugged in, or you could say, let's list at 199, you know, something like that. But that's the number they're really looking for, right? So with that being said,
That's under what?
that's up right there is, let me scroll that down. Comparable price analysis. That's the one, and I usually typically, again, it's preference, but I usually end up by CMA on that last page. That's what we're really trying to dig down to. All this other stuff, guys, is just filler. If you want a map or a net sheet or determining your value of the home, it says, hey, if it's on the market this much longer, little things about checklists for moving and things. It's just filler stuff. But if it was a first time, seller or buyer or whatever, like let's look at selling versus timing. It's pretty elementary. Let's go to, I didn't have to highlight that one. Let's go to selling versus timing. All right. Look at that detailed chart. Isn't that fascinating? So basically it says buyer interest dwindles the longer it's on the market, right? But for somebody who's selling for the first time, they may visually need to see that, okay? But once I feel pretty good about where I'm at, and by the way, if you ever wanted to along the way, just hit save. You can see right here, let me get rid of that box there. It'll save all the work you've done, so you're not going to lose it. But once you're ready to, so I've got everything I think I need for my CMA, I'm going to hit generate presentation. All right, pretty self-explanatory. You need to generate it. You hit start. It's going to put all the components together that you've selected.
Can you change the order?
These, see how I just left click and dragged it?
Okay,
That's what I'm doing. So yes, you can certainly do that.
you're just holding the left key?
On the mouse.
Okay.
Yep. All right. So I have created a CMA. All right. So now how do I want to see that CMA when I'm done? Okay. So let's say you open up Paragon for the first time, and I want to go take a look at and see. So there's save presentations under CMA. I clicked on. There's save presentations. I'm going to look. There's KW test I just created today on 6/22. All right. So if I want to take a look at it, there it is. All right. We can work on it. All right. Let's go ahead and generate the presentation so you can actually want to take a look at it and see it. And then from this point, after generating it, you can email it. All right. Give it a second. There we go. So right there, if you want to email it, you can certainly do that. You can print or download it, whatever you need to do at this point. All right. So email. Right. And we can actually, yeah, so if I just typed in the client, Jay Jennings, well, just hit send. You can send them right to them. So that is your CMA. Now, I'll tell you, I'll mention a couple things is that some of your different products out there that we offer you, they're all free member benefits, will do a CMA. HomeSnap will do a CMA. Anybody using HomeSnap yet? It's kind of a cool feature. All right. So you're literally, I've had clients who actually got listings. They had their HomeSnap in their back pocket, right on their phone, and they were doing an open house. And a neighbor came by and said, "Oh my gosh, I know you're selling this thing, but I want to see what that kitchen looked like. We're going to sell our house. Well, let's go take a look at your house when we're done." They're sitting in the driveway of that house, geocoding based on your phone, knows where that house is at, snaps the home, and there's a quick button that says create a rapid CMA. And HomeSnap is going to pick homes in the vicinity of where that subject property is. Says, all right, you pick 3 of the closest homes that just are active that meet the closest criteria of the subject property. Pick 3 homes that sold around here that are most likely this one. Generate CMA. By the time they walk to the front door, you will have a CMA, and people are going, it blows their mind. They're like, you just have like a 43-page CMA in a matter of minutes. All right, so that's a neat when you're out in the field. All right, it's a nice party trick too. All right, so, but you can use that. CRS has one. RPR has one. I can give you a link on their training. RPR has a very, very detailed CMA if you really want to do a deep dive and really break it down. If you just want to Google RPR blog, it'll take you to a bunch of training, different tools and features. If you ever get stuck in here, you can call Paragon, call us. But if you click on help in the top right-hand corner of Paragon, there's all training videos, right? And you just go back to whatever you wanted to work on and get a little bit of insight on that. Okay. All right. So, I mean, that was pretty quick, but that is your basic CMA. Let me show you, take this one out to homesnap.com/university. And if you go in tutorials, that's a great little, let me find that one here for you. Let's get
That.com, what?
/university.
Yeah, because I still don't see CMA on here.
Let's see.
Do you know where it's at, Max?
See,
You
I'm
know
looking
everything
for
there.
See, I haven't done a CMA on there.
How he had all those icons across.
So I see
Oh, really?
advertise a listing.
Is that what? it
You know what?
was?
Let me do it
You
here.
go into Baldwin Realty and then scroll down and you'll see the Paragon button. You can click that.
Yeah, you could go to
You
your
go through
portal.
the Baldwin
Alright.
stuff, yes?
If you're in your portal,
Okay.
instead of clicking on Paragon,
You do this
Was
today.
tutorials
there you go.
on
That-
each thing?
well,
Where was that?
That pops up automatically.
Okay.
That university's in your, once you upload home snap, it's in there.
Let's see.
They go to give you trainings and.
Did your
tutorials.
license?
Okay.
Okay, there it is, just so you guys see it. If you click on tutorials,
This is a little thing.
and then I would do generate a rapid CMA. Right there. They're like 3 or 4 minute videos. Right there, but they do a really good job. It's a neat tool to work with, so,
Go to
all
more.
right,
May I ask a question?
sure.
When you're trying to do comparables
it's
to your
right there.
main subject home was damaged in a hurricane, how
Mhm.
do you do that?
That's a good, that's a difficult one, 'cause you'd have to say, okay,
Okay, so hit a
which is
property.
$62,000 worth of damage,
So let's hit a
kind of a
property.
thing, it
And
hasn't been
then-
repaired, so those
Oh,
are a little
rapid
trickier.
CMA.
you know,
Can you see that?
Yeah, but
Okay, so we'll go back.
Oh, you have to
Yeah,
click next
would
to
you-
this one, right around the whole area.
So we're
That's
gonna
where
hit
I'm
the
at, like,
property.
what do I do?
Thank you.
yeah, I mean,
Send
so,
it rapid MA,
your subject
CMA.
property,
And then what now?
you'd have to
Next.
have a pretty good understanding, I guess, what is the severity of the damage, and have to convey that to
Around.
those clients, and so, I mean,
Thanks.
that's,
Alex.
that's a tough one. That's a tough one, but that's, you'd have to do a little deeper dive,
Sales
I guess,
speed,
and
that's
kind
what I need.
of put those numbers together.
Okay.
Like, yeah, I don't know. Has anybody else come across that yet? Where you had a list of property where it's damaged? How would you want to go about doing that, you think? So let's say you have a home in a subdivision where one oak tree fell on that home, they said, I want to get rid of my home, right? And so what do I list it for? Right? So your comps, you have closed comps that would be accurate because they were undamaged, right? So you would have to go back to that seller and say, all right, you need to tell me, what is your insurance claim? You gotta give me that information. What's your insurance? Do you intend to fix this? Do we list it as is? Are we gonna wait till repairs are made? Do we have to have a CO again? Or is it inhabitable? All right, so you'd have to kind of get to them saying, what are those, did you get quotes that says this is the amount that, or insurance, so this is what it takes? So that's a tough one. I mean, there's some places down Fort Morgan and saying, I'm selling this as is. And then you're just gonna have to do that homework and say, all right, I think there's, $68,000 worth of damage, and based on the comps that sold at 510,000, I'm gonna deduct that 68,000 and say, all right, maybe we go from there, we list it 420.
So we don't have to have formal votes of what the damage would.
You want to talk to your broker on that, but I think it's just going to be, the market's going to tell you too pretty quickly. I mean, because what's going to happen typically in a situation like that is that a buyer's going to come along, it's just like, it's a pain in the rear for you, it's a pain in the rear for me, but I'm taking it off your hands. So it's a $500,000 house. If it was in perfect shape, you have $75,000 worth of damage, it's $425. I'm taking it over. I'll give you $399 maybe, but I'm not, if you want to deal with it, then you deal with it. But then you're dealing with those conversations.
So when you were building up that conversation we were having where you were adding value, is there one where you can deduct value?
Yeah, you just put a minus sign in front of it,
Okay.
and then add that number, and it'll just subtract it.
Okay.
Yep.
Yes, ma'am, that's it.
All right. So let's see. All right, so
Can you add, so I know you have a selection where you put the she shed, right? But can you add further comments like damage from hurricane, but this is based on the contractor's an assessment for repair or something.
Yeah, you could actually just upload your own document too, to that CMA. So if you want to create a Word document, you could upload it to the CMA and have your notes based on that too. So if you had quotes or anything like that, and you wanted to tie that in, you could upload documents.
But that doesn't become binding, right? It's just for information based on the disclaimer.
That's why I have that CYA in there. This is reliable but not guaranteed. Okay. So, yeah, go ahead, question?
Will you show me where the saved ones are? Like where I?
Sure,
say-
yeah, so if you want to go back and pull up your saved CMAs,
Mhm,
we'll go back to the CMA icon,
right,
all right? And then right here, the second one down, save presentations.
uh-huh.
Right, and then you just need to find the one that you saved.
I'm not gonna say if there's not gonna be any right there.
Oh, I did say that.
Do you have any tabs open right now up here, like,
CMA, CMA preferences, yes.
because you may still have it up where you can save it.
Oh, there it is.
Good, okay, so mentions, okay, good.
I'm sorry.
When I say that too, but again, different levels of what, how working within the system, but when I say tab oriented, I've got my CMA search open right here. There's a CMA tab for that. If I wanted to do a search, I can do a search for a property. There's another tab. If I want to do another search, let's say I'm just doing this for whatever reason, I'm just curious to see what available homes are in Ono Island right now, and I'm doing the search here. You're on office duty, somebody calls and say, hey, what's for sale in Lake Forest? You can click on this new search right here. And now you have two sets. So you can toggle back and forth. You go back to the one, go to the other, or you go back to CMA. But within each tab, you have drop down. So you can do multiple things at the same time, where a lot of these MLS systems, you have to shut down and go to a new feature. Well, you can do tons of different things at the same time. For instance, when you wanted to go into, you want to work on maintain your listing. All right, there's another tab for that. So you just move along and you can do a lot of different things at the same time. Okay, so I just wanted to point that out. You don't have to shut something down in order to get to another feature of Paragon. Okay, show you a new tool. Let me show you this real quick. Since you guys are kind of new, I want to share this story with you because there was a new agent who just got her license, 6 months ago, maybe 7 months ago. She called me up, losing her mind. She's like, oh my God, Jay, a buyer came along and he wants to buy a house on the water. He's going to spend $1 million. I don't know how to find it. I'm going, well, okay, tell me about what's going on. And it was kind of a unique search. So what this buyer wanted is saying that they didn't want a condo, they wanted a house with a boat lift. They didn't want to be in the Gulf of Mexico, but they loved all the backwaters. They didn't care if it was Cotton Bayou, Wolf Bay, anywhere in that, but all those backwaters, they loved it. Okay. He said, so I want a boat lift, and they said, I don't want to be on Ono Island. We were looking at homes there. They said, it takes 35 minutes to get my cigarettes. And I said, well, keep them back here. Mike, you know what kind of closing gift you're going to give them? Probably is a carton of Marlboros, I would imagine. So, but she said, how do I know what body of water do I choose from? Body of water? Do I choose that city? Or, how do I go about doing it? And I said, this is a great opportunity to use a map search, all right, to cover all that. So this is what we did because she was trying to create a search, clicked on search, and she was in residential single family. And she was going into city, typing all the cities where bodies of water could have been on it, and then customize body of water to the search and try to, and it's impossible to think of everything, right? So what we did is we just started new, and we just clicked in mapping. All right, so there's my default search. So I'm going to go to where we were working. All right, and so basically this is what we were talking about. All these backwaters that they loved. All right, so remember what they said, and it's important to remember what your buyers are asking for. Backwater, boat lift. I have 800,000 to 1.4 to spend, I think is what he said. I don't want to be on Ono Island. I don't want a condo. Don't want to be in the Gulf of Mexico. Okay. All right. So what we did is we're trying to draw a map, and a polygon map is great because you can click and make a bunch of different lines to cover the area that you want customized. So I clicked on that. So I just started right here, and I clicked, click, 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 right? And I'm just going around all these backwaters. All right. Oh, where is here?
How did you start your clicker?
I hit
I blinked.
draw.
Draw, okay.
Yep. All right. So let me
I love there, okay.
let me do that, and then I'm going to end up where I started. Click. Now look what happens. Okay. So now I've got all these properties. Let me go ahead and do a search.
You want to delete 10, right?
So let's take a look and see what comes in there. Now, 92 homes, but now I pull this up, I'm going back to criteria. All right, now I'm going to pull away all the stuff or add the stuff they want or pull away, which is just as important. All right, so I'm looking at all active, I'm good there. So let's do something real quick. They said they didn't want a condo. So let's go detached, right? That gets rid of the condos. So now I'm down to 59. What he said he wanted 800,000, I think he said, to 1.4. So I'm gonna get 1.4. There's 14 houses, not a whole lot left, is there? Features, I'm gonna go into boat lift. There's only 2. All right. Now, what else did he said? He said, I don't want to be on Ono Island, right? So I'm going to subdivision and I'm typing in Ono Island. And what happens, because he doesn't want to be on Ono Island, instead of equals, not equal to. So at this time, there was actually like 4 at the time we do the search, but do a search. There's the one house that came up. So let's take a look at it. $1.2 million, right?
It's not on water.
It's not on the water though. What happened? So let's go back to my criteria. What I needed to do is named waterfront. That's what I forgot to type in. I customize it, name waterfront. Hit yes. Let's do search. You know what she did? The compliance guidance came out. So what she did is put in body of water, yes. See what she did there? And it's not. So this is what I do as a compliance guy and say, listen, people are doing searches for properties that are on named waterfront. You put yes. So that's a no-no.
What if that is waterfront deeded waterfront access or water access?
Water access, you would actually have to be on that water, that property would have to. So I would go back and now, unfortunately, this search didn't work out because last week or a month ago, there was 4 houses. But
You typed in boat lift, excuse me, too,
Mhm.
so.
But if I said, let's put equal to, that they wanted to be on Ono Island, hopefully this one comes up as Ono Island. It does. Okay. See, that one's on the water though. But you can see that what's important. I want back into criteria. Sometimes there's things that they don't want, right? So for instance, if you do a search in Fairhope or Spanish Fort or whatever it may be, and they do not want a mobile home, then you would go here and say not equal to, right? Now this is obviously not going to be with a boat lift on Ono Island. You're going to find a mobile home. So, but just to let you know, there may be something very specific things that your client does not want, and so you can change that so it pulls that out of the search criteria.
So Jay, I mean, they said they wanted a boat lift, right? So by that, then the house is gonna have to be on the water. So can you not just put in boat lift? Full
You
stop
could.
for a search?
You could.
Like, how did that one come up? I didn't mean to know.
Well-
Because you put in boat lift.
Let's see, boat
If you're
lift.
in Baldwin County and you put boat lift, that should, I would think, right, source all the waterfront homes.
Unless it didn't have compliance like the other one wasn't on the water, even though it said.
But
Yes.
I'm saying boat lift, so it's gotta say boat lift, right?
Yeah, if they've entered in
Because I have a
boat lift.
client that's looking for a house with a boat lift, right? So I'm helping.
So here we go. So within that search, I did right there. So it's still within that search, that polygon. Remember I did that customized
Yeah, but I
search?
say you take the polygon away. If I'm putting the word boat
Sure.
lift,
Sure, let's
that
get rid of
means
it
it's gonna
then.
be on water, right?
And then you can see by getting rid of polygon, there's 28 listings with a boat lift right now that are active.
Okay,
Okay,
and that wasn't sufficient for what she was trying to do?
let's take a look and see what happened. Why not?
Cause I mean, I have people looking from Alberta all the way down to
Same.
they just wanna be on the boat, have a
See?
boat left.
This one was Fish River, so that was more to the east. It wasn't in that polygon,
Right?
right?
Okay,
So Fish Trap was in there. I don't know, Ponce, Jubilee Point, Fish Rivers again, Shellbank. So
so those are something, where's it tell you what? Oh, Orange Beach, I see it over on the, there, yeah, there's Alberta, the city, I got it.
see, this one is Theodore. So that one made, so that was in Mobile.
Yeah, so you could, for instance, you could go back into that search, right, and put not Theodore, right?
Or
Not equal to
you could just go
Theodore.
Baldwin County. If you put county, you could just put
Oh, yeah,
Baldwin
Theodore's in.
County.
Yeah, why are we picking up, why would this be picking up, Mobile listings?
Because if it's got, because based on the criteria we entered, and that
But I
agent,
thought that was a different,
if they're a member with us, they can enter it in. 'Cause Mobile is one of our service areas.
Okay.
Yep.
Got it.
Yep.
So if they're, okay, so if I'm an agent here, but I'm a member of their MLS
If
or
you-
their organization, I can, if I put a listing here, it'll pick up there.
If you're a member here, and you have, you have to be a member of our MLS to enter it in. That agent had a listing in Mobile, and so they entered it in to
Okay.
our MLS. It may or may not be in Mobile's MLS. I don't know if they are a member over there. But the fact is that they're a member here and they entered in our MLS is showing up.
But Danita said that if you were gonna have homes in Mobile, you have to have their MLS.
Oh, that's for our brokerage.
That's what
Okay.
Danita said one day. You can ask her again, but that's
Yeah.
what she said at one of the classes.
Okay.
May I ask,
Yeah, we can-
where you have those lift on the features, what's the difference in the BF-21 and the LD-20?
Here's a good question. That's a really good question. So let's do
Oh,
this.
my twin type spoke lift.
So let me use this as an example because it's summertime and a lot of buyers are looking for pools right now, right? So I'm gonna go into features. I'm gonna type in PO pool. Now, this is a great example. You have AF pool, you have CA pool, the code's ORPA. So what in the world do those things mean, right? But what we try and do is CA would be community amenity. PA is property amenity, and to help you determine that, we put home in parentheses.
Okay.
But if you wanted to look at, let's go to the eyeglass and features, okay? There's containers, what we call all these blue boxes, and in these containers, there's fields. But let's, the PA for property amenity, let's click on that container. There's a bunch of fields. And if you look in there, if you scroll down, you're gonna see pool again in there. That is property amenity. That is, a pool must be at that particular home. And that's why we have it in parentheses. Where community amenity would be something for the subdivision or the condo complex has. And if we go back in there. Okay, so there are some other ones in here. OR, other room. All right, and if you don't know what OR is, you'd have to go click on that eyeglass to see what OR container is.
And so is that our cheat sheet, a little magnifying glass? Because I wouldn't know the
Yep.
difference between a BD and an LD. a
Exactly.
BF and LD.
Exactly. You would have to go into there and figure out what does that container really mean.
Okay.
And
Yep.
you just space it, or when you have multiple features, you just put a comma and keep on going, or what? For instance, I've got a neighborhood, but the house has its own pool. So if the neighborhood has a nice pool, house has its own pool, how do you list that?
You do both.
Oh,
Okay, you just,
You have community amenity, outdoor, and then you can see there's space.
oh, okay, you don't have to.
And there's another one you can go to home.
Comma, you just put dot, 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 dot.
Yep.
Okay.
You can certainly do that.
Is
Okay.
Fire pit one of the options?
You can, here's a good little hint to fireplace, no. But what I do, I customize, everybody know what customizing search is? Let me show you that real quick. There's this blue gear button right there called customization or customize, and I'm gonna hit fields. So anything that's available will be on the left-hand side. What's already in your search field is on your right. So this is already on there, but if I wanted to add something, I could. I don't know if I have body of water on there. See, body of water is a big one. So I just started typing BOD, or I can scroll, and I check it, and I hit add. Whenever you add something, it drops it to the bottom of that list. So I can just left click it and drag it, and I can put it up top if it's important. And if I just want to save it for one time, I hit apply. If I want to create a this to be in my safe searches all the time, I could hit apply save, and if I want to do this a unique search, it's like a Word document, save as. But let's just use this as a one-time apply. This is big because now you can see, where's my body of water? I think I brought it up towards the top.
It's lower, a little lower. Right at the bottom of the screen.
Oh, there we go.
Yep.
Okay, there it is. So this is nice. So now if somebody tells you, I want to be on Fish River, all right, or I want to be on Wolf Bay, type that in. It's only going to pull up properties, if they were entered correctly, for properties that are actually on Wolf Bay, not access to, not deeded access, but properties must be on that body of water. All right, so that's a great time saver as well, because Fish River could run through like 5 or 6 different cities, right? They say, I want to be on Fish River. It'll pull up everything that's on Fish River.
Well,
Okay.
like for the boat lift, is there a difference between the boat facility and the lot description? Like, are we gonna get in trouble if we actually?
Well, you won't get in trouble, but you're just going to get some different results. So let's go look at boat facilities. All right. So
It's under, yeah, BF 22,
mhm.
yeah, there you
There's a
go. 21, sorry.
Okay, there's a boat lift.
Yeah, and then under LD, which is the lot description,
Mhm.
there's another boat lift,
Yeah, because that means it's just land with
a boat lift.
a boat lift.
Okay, so it's
That's a
specific.
lot description. Yep. So you could put a boat lift on that lot.
Okay, I got you.
Okay.
It's a
Thank you.
boat lot, where it said boat lot, go back.
In this area here,
No, it's on
Yeah,
the,
it was on the other page.
you want to go to the up
Boat
here?
facility,
Yes, wherever you were,
yeah,
there, boat lot, I don't have my glasses, but I think it's 4 down.
boat lot.
Yeah,
Mhm.
boat lot. Just
What is that?
parking spot for your boat, storage,
Okay.
dry storage.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So deeded access to water, we have easement.
You can put it in your description if you want to search for it. So if you go, let's see, features, it's under view. So see deeded access right there? That's under WP. Let's go to there.
That covers easements.
If it's an easement, no, I mean, it depends on how you're talking about the easement. Is the easement deeded access?
Yeah, it would be, yeah.
Well, then you would put under deeded access.
Like beach access or bay access or.
So here's where we see a lot of people misuse the system, where they really want to puff up the listing, and they'll put in, it's Gulf front or view. It's a direct Gulf front view, and it's like in a subdivision, deep in the heart of Gulf Shores. Yeah, so,
Sandy Beach.
and people get mad about that too. They send that in the same search to their clients. Client pulls it up, like, what are you, a moron? This is Holmes and Foley, so not to be like 60 feet tall. So anyway, but yeah, features are, you can get really drilled down to a lot of the specific details of the properties in the MLS. Now, here's a cool little trick that I like. If you find something very, very unique that we may not have in features, I like to customize public remarks. Let me show you why. And I'm guessing, I don't know. Man cave. There are 8 listings of that listing agent thought that man cave was important to put in public remarks, right? So somebody, you got a bachelor looking for man caves, there's 8 listings, and then you can go from there and find out where it is and price range there, but that may be another way you find some. We did this the other day for somebody, let's see if it's still there. They wanted a tiki bar. Tiki, there's 5 listings with tiki bar. Okay, and but somebody put that in public remarks. So it's just a unique way of finding some unique listings.
So the difference between public remarks and features?
Public remarks is a free form entry based on that listing agent, what they feel is important to talk about the features of that property. Features is, it's already pre-prescribed entries that we've created that
that's a
agents can put.
description.
Mhm.
Right, so tiki bar and man cave.
That's just something the listing agent wanted
What
to put
she
it on
said
there.
was,
She shed was in there.
that's just sexist.
One of those things we're not supposed to say, huh?
It's not, but it's in there.
So if you also, instead of doing the features, though, you did the public remarks, would that pick up the features?
If it was in features. If it was an option, but
I mean, if I put, instead of going to features and putting boat lift, if I put it in public remarks and it's in the listing.
public remarks would have, that agent would have to put boat lift in their
Okay,
public
okay.
remarks. Yep. Okay,
So in other words, if you can't find it in features, go to public remarks.
you may want to try it. Yep, they may put it in there. Yep. Okay. All right, so hopefully it gives you a little bit of insight and on CMAs and some unique features and searches. You get to cover a little bit more. I'll show you one last thing here in tax. I think it's kind of cool. We can open up to questions. CRS tax data. So here's my recent search. I'm just going to pull up that same property, but I want to show you something cool about this is under view larger maps. In the top left-hand corner, it's hard to see. There's two arrows. All right, if I click on that, and I can go to FEMA flood maps. So now look how important, if you're looking for a client who wants to build a home, and you're looking for lots and saying, hey, listen, guys, I know you want to build in this subdivision. This lot, you'll need flood insurance. You know, this lot, you'll need flood insurance. This one, you may not. Right? And that just gets uploaded whenever FEMA gets the newest updates to CRS. But you can see, look how important that is, especially right here on this street. This is in a flood zone. This is in a flood zone. This is in a flood zone. This one won't be. If you click on that property, you can actually get all the details about that property and view that report.
That's pretty cool.
So elevation. For people like me who said, you know, I don't want to be anywhere near the water. I've been hit by too many floods. I want to be up high.
There's a
Can you do
topo
searches
map.
for that?
There's a topo map. I thought there was. Right there. Is that one? Let me turn this one on.
I don't know. That's the question I was asking is, was it,
There was.
if I wanted to do a search based on elevation, right? I say, hey, listen, I'm paranoid. I love the area, live in the area, but I don't want to be at sea level. I want to be 100 feet above sea level. Is there anything that allows that search?
No, it's a good question, but there's a USGS topo map. That's the only thing I know about. I'd have to get some more.
The reason I asked is when I was asking my agent for my search, that was one of the things I said, hey, I want to be up.
I don't know a way to do that one.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't know a way to do that one.
You can find out elevation on certain properties with that?
It's got a US topo right there, so that's topography. But I'm looking. I'm scrolling out. I'm looking. Let me get rid of areas too, because that may be hard to see what they're looking for. So you can see.
Yeah, I see the topo.
You
It
can,
doesn't give you the elevation.
it doesn't give you. I don't know.
Unless there's a key that I can't see.
Yeah,
What's on the bottom right? I can't see. I mean, yeah, what is that? I can't see.
1 mile equals 1 mile. So,
Wow.
yes.
Wow.
Let's see. I don't know. Yeah, but it gives it. It just doesn't give a whole lot of breakdown on the element. I'm going to go down deeper and to see.
And that's not on the tax records, the elevation.
No, this is through CRS tax data.
Okay, that's where you're.
Okay. So anyway, there can be some unique things that you can find there as well. Okay. So we got to cover a little bit more than just CMAs today. Anything, guys? You guys seen anything, trouble spots, areas that you want to cover while I'm here?
Oh, do you have an email or something?
Yeah.
Number?
You can send it to all of us. Send it to MLS@baldwinrealtors.com. And there's several of us in there who will get that. Like I'm out teaching today, there'll be 2 people on board ready to help you out.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
And if we did want to do like a little group,
Give me, email me, find a date, especially on a Friday. This works great. Friday afternoons. We'll find a time. I'll send you a Zoom link and we can go for about an hour or so. Anything more than that, it gets to get a little mushy.
Thank you.
No, absolutely. So good luck on your journey, guys, and we're here to help. So give us a buzz. And again, there's help features there. 877 MLS Help is Paragon's number. They're after hours, Saturday and Sunday. They're pretty good. So
So if we run across a listing that we feel issue, compliance issue? I mean, do we
Yeah.
bring it to your attention? Is that
Yeah,
what
here's
we're
what
supposed to do,
here's what I would do. Because my phone is ringing off the hook right now, and this is where I guide everybody to go do this. So this is a little test listing that I made for myself internally. But if you find a listing where it's wrong, you get these action items, okay? There's right here with the check mark. It's I check. You say, here's what I think is wrong, and here's how I think I should fix it. Send it to me. I get the email. The listing agent doesn't know about it, and I keep everything confidential because I know you guys are doing deals and stuff. So it just says, hey, Jay, this says it's waterfront and it's not.
or- Okay.
And then I'll fix it. I'll look at it and I'll send it out to them. Who reported me? It was Jason.
Yeah.
That's the checkbox, the blue. I need my glasses.
They won't know that right under the car.
Yeah, everything's confidential. Absolutely, absolutely. But those are good features too. So if, remember the map? There's for CRS, there's a property map right there within the listing. It'll take you right there to find out.
What about the CMA from that CRS? Is that similar to the CMA from?
It's
we just did?
different. Yeah, it's not one of my favorite tools, but you can
I've
do
seen
it.
a little bit of it. So I didn't know.
Yeah, you could do it. We'd say that for another, again, it just looks, that's a whole nother monster, that one, how they do their CMAs. But anyway,
So
so
these also show the commission, or is that,
what's that?
does the CMA also have the commission part on there, or is that for the agent only?
It doesn't show commission.
Okay.
No. Mm-mm. Nope. All right. Well, thank you for your time. We've been at it for
Thank you.
an hour and 15 minutes, but good luck on your journey. Call us if you need us. We're here to help you, and hope to see you guys making the top producer of the month here real soon, right?
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you for your
guys.
time.
All righty.
I appreciate it.
I'm writing in all this.